topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Experts, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We have got a great guest in the second half of the show. I thought I'd take the first half of the show, and we get so many people calling us saying, how do we become an expert on your show? Well, first of all, our show has been running, this is our 13th year, and I feel so blessed that we've been put in a position that our show has been running this long. We also do another show called Eat and Critique, and it critiques and reviews South Florida restaurants. That show is on Monday nights at 6 o'clock Eastern time. But today I wanted to take about 20 minutes and talk to you about Ask the Experts. We had been doing radio for the last, I'd say, 10 years, and we had great success for our experts, and we would have local radio stations in each market. During this time, I had a lot of people come to us and said, why aren't you doing a podcast? And then they give me all the reasons why radio was going down. I'm talking about terrestrial radio. And I just didn't believe that radio could just leave. But I saw Michael Savage, who had one of the greatest radio shows. He was on in 680 radio stations, left radio and went to podcast. And I couldn't understand how you could just stop doing radio, maybe add a podcast, but no, he went right to podcast. Then I heard that all the new electric cars in 2024, we're no longer going to have AM radio in them. And most talk radio stations are AM stations. So that really got my attention. And then I start just talking to people. And I go, do you ever listen to podcasts? And I got to tell you, 9 out of 10 people will go, yeah, I listen to podcasts all the time. Well, do you listen to radio all the time? No, not as much as I used to. That was it for me. I had to move the show to podcast, but I had to find not just a podcast, but I had to find the greatest podcast. And I found a company, W4CY, that had not only the greatest podcast platform, but they also worked with iHeart, Facebook, all the major platforms. And about a year and a half ago, we made the best move of our life over to W4CY. what's so great about it is we now can do shows during the week where before we had to settle for weekend shows when you don't have near the audience. And it has made such a difference. What we do is we bring in experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. And just for example, in legal, we have personal injury attorneys. We have tax relief attorneys. We have bankruptcy attorneys. We have workers' comp attorneys, estate planning attorneys. Each one of these law firms have their own show on our Ask the Expert show, all in their own markets, because we really target markets. Then we have our health area. Our number one area in health is weight loss. There's injections, they're calling it the skinny injection, that is without a doubt the hottest weight loss there is in the country. In fact, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Central Time, we have one of the greatest weight loss doctors that will be on with us. But usually anything having to do with self-help, like plastic surgery, dermatology, weight loss. We have a lot of different health areas. And then we have areas in the financial area, like wealth management. Our wealth management show has been with us for 4 years, and they're with us not only once a month, they're with us twice a month, and they continue to renew with us. Other areas we also consider in financial tax relief. But anything having to do with taxes or investments come under financial. And then finally, we have home improvement, huge area for us. In fact, our next show comes under the home improvement area. They are public insurance adjusters, and they do our Texas and Oklahoma markets. And if you've seen the weather in Texas, if you're in Houston right now and you see the weather here, it's been one of the rainiest times. We've had flooding here in Houston. It's been horrible here. Well, a public adjuster, a lot of people don't even know what a public adjuster does. But when you put in a claim to the insurance company, whether you've had flooding in your house or place of business, maybe you had a fire or smoke damage, and you just do not like the amount the insurance company is offering you, you would get a claims adjuster. They would handle all that for you. They know what every detail is in your house if something should go wrong. And they normally will get you a lot more money than if you did it yourself. Our shows are 25 minutes long. They're all live. We prefer to do a live show. But just imagine there's a topic out now called neuropathy. It is one of the hottest topics. And I think what makes it so hot is they've found a lot of ways to treat neuropathy. And if you have neuropathy, you know how painful it is. And now with all these new techniques coming out now, neuropathy is such a hot topic. So you would definitely want to watch our neuropathy show and learn about neuropathy. And what we do is we do all the legwork for you. We bring in the top experts in each area, so you don't have to go through the website to try to determine who's got the best website. It shouldn't work like that anymore. But all you have to do, if you'd like to get your business, and maybe it's a business I didn't even bring up. I know I didn't say before, we do a lot of dental implant shows. We have a show for sleep apnea, stop snoring. But these are all great shows from all across the country. And we would love to have you on our show as one of our experts. Because once you come on our show, you never leave. And the reason why is the great success our experts have. I did tell you that our next show is a public insurance adjuster. I'm really excited about this show because these guys are so good at they know what a claim really is worth. And of course, you have to pay them for that. But normally, what you pay them and the difference in price that they give you on your claim, it is so worth it to have a public adjuster to represent you. That'll be our next show coming up. These guys are so good. But we would love to have you on our show. You will be shocked at our rates that we charge. It's funny, I spoke to an ad agency this morning, and this is one of the largest ad agencies in the country. And she was calling on behalf of one of her clients that are interested in coming on her show. And when I told her the rate, the first thing she said was, "We get all of that for that price?" Felt like saying, "Can we start over again? I'll give you a bigger price." But what we do is we keep our rates low and have more experts, and they stay with us a lot longer. But I am telling you, I've been in the advertising business for 20 years, and I have never seen anything like a podcast that works so well. And what we do is we add YouTube to it. So you can actually get the video portion of your show, put it on your website, and by having it on your website, it will actually bring you more people, more traffic to your website, and that will raise your position with search engines. Google charges a lot of money for that. It's all part of our rate. We're also with iHeart. iHeart has one of the biggest libraries. So, for example, like our public adjuster, if they put in public adjuster Texas, somebody goes to iHeart's huge library, enters that into their search engines, their shows are going to come up. All their shows are going to come up. So that's to me is a great added value to the show. It is so easy to do our shows. It's funny, people go, "Well, I don't have the voice for radio or TV." You know what? It doesn't matter how your voice is. Maybe in the old days, the old DJ days, but now, especially with talk radio and podcasts, people care more about what you have to offer, what you have to say, than what your voice sounds like. One of the things a lot of our new experts will say as soon as the show's over with is, "Boy, this goes by so fast." 25 minutes seems like a long time, but it is not. We never, ever, ever run out of things to say. We also, if you're watching us right now, we have a chat line to the right of the page where you can actually type in questions. We get a lot of people who will ask questions. One of the areas I left out was community association law. In our Florida market, we have a community association law firm that's actually been with us for 10 years. They do so well with their show. In fact, they do a 50-minute show instead of the 25 minutes. And throughout the show, they get tons of calls. They get a lot of people writing in questions. It is without a doubt our most popular show. But believe me, our next show with the public insurance adjusters is such a popular show for us because we have a lot of homeowners. We have a lot of business owners that watch and listen to our shows. And if you've ever had a flood or a fire or smoke damage, or maybe someone broke into your house, or maybe mold and mildew, and you put your claim in and you come back with just some ridiculous number. Again, the job of the insurance company is to pay you the least amount possible. With a claims adjuster, their job is to get you the most. And, when you put a insurance adjuster and a public claims adjuster together, first of all, the insurance company now knows that your public insurance adjuster knows exactly what your claim is worth. And they're not going to try to get anything by you. Well, they might try, but they know better. So this next show is going to be such a great show, but it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. We signed a mesothelioma. You see those commercials. It's a cancer. It's caused from asbestos. And they are on our show now. Who would have thought a show like that would be important? But they signed a year contract with us. Now, they only need to get one new client a month to be successful for them. But we give them a platform where they can educate you, the listener or the viewer, position themselves as an expert, and we hope our listeners, our viewers, will contact them. We're on about 60 platforms. That's a lot. There's people who go into their own podcast. It's very inexpensive to do a podcast. The expensive part is promoting it and getting your message out to the world when your show is going to be on. That's what we do here. That's what W4CY does for our shows. So your show is going to be promoted. Ask the Experts promotes all their shows on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and soon to be TikTok. We have a show that I love doing because I had a problem. It stopped snoring. They've been with us for several years now. Now, guess who's going to be interested in a show like that? Somebody who snores. And they've actually cured me that I don't have to wear a CPAP machine at night when I sleep. What I do is I've followed all of her techniques, and it has worked unbelievable for me. So again, you can get real creative with the type of show that you want to do. We could do you could literally do anything. I remember workers' comp. I didn't think many people would watch a show like that because it's workers' comp injuries. It is another one of our shows that is so popular. They're out of Pennsylvania, and they've been with us for 5 years. And I mean, the amount of traffic, viewers and listeners we get for that show. And I never thought about people who got injured at work. You don't have to settle what the insurance company is going to offer you. Again, we could create a show for any type of business. And we will basically give you a turnkey product, which I think is wonderful. I'm really excited about today's show. I'm excited about it because here in Houston, we have had so much rain, and there's been so many houses that have been flooded out, and we haven't even gotten a hurricane here yet. Believe me, we will get a hurricane here sometime this season. This is not supposed to be it's supposed to be a bad season for hurricanes. Something about El Nino. We don't wish that here, but we're right here on the Gulf, and we will probably get our fair share of hurricanes this year. But there's people right now that are suffering. And here we are going to be offering you a show next on public insurance adjusting. We got so many shows from you, for so many people requesting a show for public insurance adjuster. And so I was so glad to be able to find one of the top public insurance adjusters. And again, this is not just for Houston. This is going to be for throughout Texas and Oklahoma. Poor Oklahoma gets so many tornadoes, and it's devastating. We're going to take a break. And again, I hope you will join us as one of our experts. We're going to go to break, and we come back. I cannot wait for you to view or listen to this show. You're going to learn so much about public insurance adjusting. We'll be right. Our phone number to call is 954-336-3767. That's 954-336-3767. Please give us a call. We'll give you more information on the show. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
K. Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm dedicated to the representation of community associations throughout Florida. On kbrlegal.com, you can learn more about their offices in Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Orlando, Tampa, as well as throughout Miami-Dade by appointment. Several K. Bender Rembaum attorneys are board-certified specialists in condominium and plan development law and assist clients with all matters of community association legal issues while keeping them up to date on new developments that affect their associations. K. Bender Rembaum is also a well-known provider of free legal education for managers and board members. Contact K. Bender Rembaum today by calling 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680 to reach any of their locations. You can also visit them online at kbrlegal.com or write to them at info@kbrlegal.com.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
Hey, good afternoon, Texas and Oklahoma. Welcome to another Ask the Experts, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. With the weather that we're having here in Houston, with all the rain and floods, this is just the perfect show. This is hurricane season. And I was just talking about the show before this. This is going to be a bad one. All the experts are predicting. But you know what? That's not the only thing that can go wrong with your home. There are fires and smoke damage. Maybe you had a break-in. We're on the water here in South Texas, so there's mold involved. And, in the past, if you had a problem with a claim, because the insurance companies are not your friends. Their job is to pay you the least amount possible. But you know what? We're going to show you today. We found one of the greatest public insurance adjusters for Texas and Oklahoma. Name of the company is GFR Public Adjusters. And we're going to show you, we're going to teach you why having a public adjuster is going to put so much more money in your pocket. And insurance companies hate going up against them because they know as much about claims as the insurance company. Let me welcome you, Brandon Kinsey. Hey, Brandon.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Is Brandon there?
I am here.
Brandon's here with us, but we can't see him on camera.
Really?
Okay.
Again? How about now?
No, we don't see you. We definitely hear you. What do you think the problem is, Rebel? Did you?
How about now?
Oh, there you are.
Here I am. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You're here. I was, just telling people how, Brandon, the insurance companies are no friend to homeowners. They love grabbing that check each month, but boy, when it's time to pay out, they just do everything they can to pay you the least amount possible. And what you do, what's so important, what you do is you know just as much, if not more, than the insurance adjuster. They can't sneak one by on you, can they?
No, they absolutely can't. They try every day, though.
I know. So, Brandon, tell us about GFR Public Adjusters.
Well, we're a company, been in business for about 6-7 years. We do all types of claims: fire, water, mold, vandalism, rental properties. Basically, just property damage is what we assess and fight the insurance carrier on the insured's behalf.
You handle businesses also?
I do, yes. Commercial, all types of commercial, fire, water, all in the same. Any property damages, whether it be commercial or residential, is what we absolutely excel in.
Well, we had, because we promote you the week before and a lot the day of your show, and we got a call that was not going to be able to watch the show until tonight. But it's a homeowner that's had some flooding in Houston, and they will be giving you a call tomorrow.
Nice.
They called to get your phone number, so I thought that was great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's great. That is great.
Of course. So, Brandon, when a person has a water break in their home, what is important to tell people why it's so important for them to contact you?
Well, usually an insurance carrier will come out and they'll send their adjuster out. And what happens is let's say you had a dishwasher leak and you have wood floors and it's starting to buckle the floors. You realize that. You call your insurance carrier and they come out and they say, well, we're only going to fix the flooring that's in front of the dishwasher area where the water came out, and this is the only place that it's buckling, knowing that you can't do that, especially with continuous flooring. So they'll try to nickel and dime you. And if the flooring is in the kitchen and runs throughout the entire house, well, you can't match that flooring. And insurance carriers are notorious for only paying for the area that's in front of the dishwasher and only that area. And that's where I come in and I try to get the entire flooring paid for, including cabinets and anything like that might be affected by the water.
Well, I'm going to tell people that, if you try to do this yourself, which I've had friends of mine who have tried to do this themselves, and they will all tell you that when they did finally hire a public adjuster, that the public adjuster got them so much more money than it was originally offered.
Yeah, and usually the way I see it is usually 30 to 40% higher payouts than what the insurance carrier is going to do, especially when it comes to water and fire. I mean, it can be up to 300 to 400 times, depending on how bad, the insurance carrier had done the insured.
So now your charges, because people don't know how you charge, but why does a public adjuster charge up to 10%?
Well, state laws, at least in Texas, only allow a public adjuster to charge 10% of the entire claim. That would be the RCV amount. And some homeowners don't understand that. The ACV is what you get, what the insurance carrier gives you up front. And then after you do the work, you get the remaining amount of money called your depreciation. That turns it into the RCV amount. So a public adjuster can only charge you up to 10%. And if you're being charged anything higher than that, it's absolutely illegal, and you should contact the state about it.
Brandon, were you surprised that so many homeowners don't really know what's in their insurance policy?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, I'm not surprised because they only look at the deck pages, and the deck pages are only like maybe 4 or 5 pages, really easy to read. It's all black and white. But when you get into the policy, and this is where public adjusters are experts at looking at, what happens is that those are like 70 pages. And an insurance carrier won't usually give you your policy unless you demand that, hey, I want my entire policy.
I never knew that. Wow, that's amazing. I wonder what they're hiding. We just got a text message from Amarillo, Texas. Robert in Amarillo, Texas. Why do home insurance policies not cover termites?
Well, if you look deep into the policy, they don't cover any type of infestations, bees, animals, other things like that. And the only thing they do, well, no, they don't cover any of that. So it's just part of the policy, and it's actually across the board in most states, especially state of Texas. So yeah, they will not cover that.
So, for example, in Florida, they have all these iguanas, and the iguanas can really cause major homeowner damage. I don't know if we have them here in Texas or not, but I know there's squirrels out there. There's possums. They can do some major damage to a home, but they're not covered, right?
That is correct. Yes. Any varmints, animals. There is no coverage payout for anything that has to do with any kind of animal damage. It's unfortunate because I see it a lot, but
yes,
not iguanas or anything, but squirrels and things like that eat through, the soffit of the roof and get in there and cause damage big time, especially electrical damage.
What is the biggest question people have when they call you up for the first time?
Well, they're usually in disarray, thinking, let's just go with a hell claim. They call in and they say, well, my insurance carrier only paid for half my roof, and half of it's blown off as well. But the other half, they're saying there's no damage. And now they're saying it's under my deductible. So they usually call me and say, what can I do here? How do we get this thing done? And I usually walk them down the road of how to get it done. And there are many avenues to beat these insurance carriers, many. And the biggest problem is just the people just don't know what a public adjuster can do for them. And I always say, if you use me once, you'll use me for life.
Yes. God, we're getting a lot of texts today. This one is from Beaumont, Texas. Wants to know, does your company cover mold and mildew?
Okay. You're asking if the insurance carriers cover mold and mildew, or?
No, they want to know if that is covered in their policy.
Yes. Actually, well, there are a few exclusions on some of these policies out there that exclude mold, but the average policy that I see is usually $5,000 worth of coverage. Unless you do an endorsement and you want to add to that, which I say to the public, no matter what, people, add your endorsements. It's pennies on the dollar. If something happens, it will be paid for 10 times the amount that what it was going to be paid for, and at least you're totally covered. So you really have to look at the endorsements on your policies.
Especially if you're close to the water, right?
Yes.
And that's really bad.
Yes. And another thing about water, water has to be, it can't be a flood. Okay. So if let's say a big hurricane hits and it floods, like a wave comes in, basically is the way they look at it. If that happens, that's usually not covered. And it's covered by FEMA, where the government steps in, and PA usually doesn't, a public adjuster doesn't usually get involved. in that type of situation. Now, a water break, high winds to where it made an intrusion on your roof, and then it just started flooding all night, and you woke up, and those are all paid for. But unfortunately, the flooding part is not. You have to have a peril that causes it, and there's not a peril there. A peril would be rain, fire, water, things like that.
Brandon, can you fire your public adjuster for taking too long or not calling back? I'm sure that, I know how important customer service is to your company. Can you get rid of it if they're not handling your claim properly?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to try to fire basically a public adjuster. The contract's written or approved by the state, and they're pretty locked in on it. The only way that you can get your public adjuster off of your back is either to pay him a little percentage just to make him go away, or convince him to sign something stating that he is done. An insurance carrier will not let anything move forward at all if a PA is involved, whether you like it or not, whether the insured likes it or not. And it's unfortunate because some of these public adjusters absolutely take a very long time to get things done. They don't have the infrastructure internally to push claims through, which that's the biggest success with my company, is that my infrastructure is designed to continuously pressure the insurance carrier to where they put us at the top of the list. And if you're at the top of the list, then sooner or later your claim's going to be taken care of. And if they don't have that positioned in their company, then this is why it takes 6 months to a year on some of these public adjusters, because they're just a one-man show.
This is an unusual text. We just got a text from John in Plano.
Okay, that's right around the corner.
You were his public adjuster, and he said you got him 4 times the amount that was offered to him, and he loved your company and would recommend you. Yeah, you never know who's listening or watching.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic.
That is really nice. Thank you for taking the time to do that. And listen, make sure that you write this phone number down, because, a lot of times you never know when you're going to need a public insurance adjuster, especially the way some of these insurance companies are trying to short you. The phone number is 972-5755, or you can go to their website at www.gfradjusters, that's plural.com. We're also running that, if you're watching on TV, we're running that across the TV monitor right now. When a fire happens to one's house, why should they get a public adjuster instead of an attorney?
Excuse me. That's a very good question there as well. Well, an attorney takes usually about 2 years to finish off a case.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And not only that, they're going to take a third, and more than likely they're going to have to hire a public adjuster because they don't know how to write the estimate that's going to be able to fight the insurance carrier. They only know how to deal with the judge and write, I guess, writs and things like that. They don't know how to do the actual Xactimate software it takes to build this fire. I mean, we're talking hours and hours that it takes to write a fire. Normally what happens is the attorneys hire a public adjuster, and I have multiples that hire me to do and to fight court cases for them. So the reason why is because of the price, the time it takes to do it. And either way, we're going to be involved, the public adjuster, and you're still going to have to pay the 10% because you have to get us involved for us to do our job for the attorney.
Got another one. Great show. I was one of the ones that wrote you that you should get a public adjuster. You should pay me a fee for that. Ha ha. They want to know, does your company do appraisals?
No, what we do, yes, we absolutely can do appraisals. I'm an umpire as well. But I can't be an appraiser on a PA case. So basically, if you hire me as your public adjuster, you can't do both. But I absolutely have two companies out there that are phenomenal that I refer to and I send my files over to frequently to take care of the appraisal process.
Okay. What is the average time it takes for a public adjuster to resolve a claim like hail or water or fire or vandalism?
Well, usually I always tell my clients on a hail claim, it's normally 30 to 45 days. Sounds like a lot, but we're also fighting a machine and a lot of red tape. My job, personally, I'll get it done within the first week. It's the other 5 to 6 weeks it takes to beat the carrier down to get them to pay a check and negotiate. And there's a lot of intricacies to it. But now when you're dealing with something like water, that can take a little bit longer because it's a little bit higher ticket price. Price of the ticket's a lot higher. Now fire, you're looking at probably 3 to 6 months. So it's like hail is 30 to 45 days, I say. Water can be up to 3 months, and a fire can take 6 months or more. Not on my side. It just depends if it goes to appraisal, and the appraisal process adds another 2 months. So that's the reason why usually on a fire, they usually pay out what they're going to pay out, and that's usually not enough. So we sometimes have to go to appraisal to get that last little 100 or 2 that's left on the table.
Hey, Brandon, I think one of the hardest things probably about your job is trying to keep your clients patient.
Oh, absolutely. That is one of the toughest things ever because, and I know they're mad and I know they're frustrated and I know they want to get their property fixed, but they can't touch it. So they have to sit there. If they have to live with it, then they have to actually literally live with the problem. Half your floors are tore up, and I mean, of course, that leads me into what I also do for the insured. If a situation like that, you have a fire or you have a water break and your living room is flooded out, they tear up all the hardwood floors, do flood cuts. That's 2-foot cuts around the drywall, like in the living room areas, things like that. And it's dusty and you want to move out. That's another thing that we can do for you. It's called ALE. It's additional living expenses. And not only do we do the dwelling side of getting you back together there, but we also handle the part where we can get you into a home, Airbnb furnished on their dime because it's part of your policy that pays for that, including your contents. If your couches and things like that were messed up, hey, that needs to be dealt with as well. They can't nickel and dime you. And I write estimates. My team writes estimates as well based off of the contents and the dwelling part, the inside damages. So, and the ALE just is part of your policy. If you get $115,000, then you can spend that $115,000 up until you get the work done in a fashionable time, basically. But you can't just continue just to do it. But you have to continue as you're working and doing the interior, fixing the interior damages. They'll pay you to move out of your home, at least to be comfortable.
Here's another text just came in from Micah in Round Rock, Texas. That's over by Austin, I think. Mm-hmm. Great guest. I'm glad you found him. Can he talk a little bit about businesses? I had a business, and it wasn't my business that had the problem. It was my next door neighbor's business that flooded out and flooded into my, I guess it's into his retail store.
Okay. Yes. So here's what happens. One of two things happen there. Either the opposing insurance company goes ahead and says, okay, let us step in and write our estimate and fund you for this just to get you off their back. But usually it's not funded correctly. You have no recourse. So what I suggest that you do is you call your insurance carrier, then they come out and they do an estimate. And then if you don't like the estimate, obviously, call us, we're the PA. But if you like the estimate and everything goes well with that, what'll happen is now they'll subrogate against the opposing insurance carrier and make them pay for the damages. And that'll also waive your deductible because whenever they subrogate, which means that they're going to sue the neighbor's insurance and get that money back because it's his fault and their fault for not paying for it. So they'll step in and just usually, try to pay for it. It's a long process for them to do that. And sometimes they'll fight you on it. But again, we can always come in and help you with a situation like that if they do. And they absolutely should pay for it. And you absolutely should not be paying your deductible on that, because if a subrogation case happens, then your deductible gets refunded to you every time.
I'm going to try to get another question in here, Brandon.
All right.
Well, this is from Mary. She's in Carrollton, Texas. Man, we're all over Texas today, aren't we?
Yeah, that's great.
No, that's good. She wants to know, does your company look at insurance policies to tell us if we need more or less?
Mary, that's a great question. I will absolutely help you and anybody else out there. I will be glad to take a look at it, because I know exactly where to go on most of the major carriers. They're all the same. I mean, they only print the same things unless you do endorsements. Other than that, yes, I will absolutely do that for you, Mary. I will take a look at it. I would just ask that you email it to me and give me a call, and then I'll give you my email address or whatever, and I will take a look at it for you and tell you what I feel that you should do regarding your home policy.
Well, for those that are listening on podcast or radio, give them your email address.
It's Brandon at gfradjusters.com. And it's going across the screen as well.
Yes. For those who are watching, they can see it. For those who are listening.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Well, you're already getting a fan club here. I mean, this is a lot of text for one show. I have a feeling it's the weather. They're saying that we're going to have more hurricanes this year than ever before because of El Nino, which also means a lot of rain. And I know in the Oklahoma area, they get so many tornadoes there, don't they?
Oh, yes. There's been some violent storms out in Oklahoma recently, and along with here in Texas. It's unfortunate that some of them are complete losses, and loss of life as well. But if they're not, and it's severe damage, and I can assure you, I would be glad to take a look at any estimate anytime, and I'll tell you immediately what's missing and what you should be getting paid on that. And then the insured can go back to the carrier and ask them, hey, I think I should be paid on this, this, and this. And when they don't pay for it, I ask that you come back to me for giving you that information, because I'm going to get you paid on catastrophic events like that.
It's amazing. Today we got a call from somebody, a public adjuster in Ohio. And he said, I don't know if there's enough to say in 25 minutes if I haven't. And I'm just looking at the questions I had for you, Brandon, today, and we only got to about half of them. So there's a lot of content. He's listening to this show to see what it's like. But you can see there's so much to know when it comes to public adjusting. Brandon's going to be with us again next month. Brandon, one more time, let's give everybody your website and phone number.
Okay, it's www.gfradjusters.com, and my email address is brandon@gfradjusters.com. You can reach me directly at 972-972-5755, or my office at 972-837-8108. I'll take your call anytime, 24 hours a day.
And you can actually go back and listen to the shows on iHeart or YouTube. Brandon, bro, thank you so much. We'll see you again next month.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Brandon.
All right.
That's Brandon Kinsley. He's with GFR Public Adjusters. Folks, trust me, if you have any problems, these are the people you want to call. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Have a good week. Thanks, Rebel.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.